everything Sunday morning. But do you even believe in Ascension? Cruz and Witeki surf the Akashic Records. Isn't that right, Scott?
We're looking for it.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Leading Out Loud, a cosmic shift show that dares you to lead out loud instead of deal with the shift. I'm here with my partner here, Scott Cruz, Psychic Medium. Hello, Scott.
How's it going? Welcome back, brother.
Ooh, some balloons. That was
Yes,
maybe a celebration of me healing since you
That's right.
dude me to death last week. I saw that promo, man. You pretty much like, he may not even make it, but if he does.
He's hanging by a thread. I'm kind of pulling it just little by little. But
It's like, but I don't know. He might die.
yeah.
It was pretty. I was like, oh, great. Here's the thing, man. It's that time of year again where romantic feelings come out for our story,
Sure.
our character, our charisma, our adventure. Some people call it Christmas. Other people call it Sagittarius. We get into this collective consciousness of like, what if? Right?
Yep.
It's also that time of the year where we, the year's coming to a close. We're realizing how much we screwed up. We're looking ahead to the new year and we're scratching our head and going, what the hell is life about anyways? Why do I even try? Right?
Yeah.
So it's a perfect moment, I thought, and you did too, that we should pull out the biggest rainbow elephant in the room, Ascension. Not you, Scott, Ascension. And
sorry.
this is the granddaddy. Ascension is the granddaddy of all truth of light work, it seems like in modern times, right? Like this is the big what we're all trying to do. Scott and I are going to talk about what the hell is Ascension? Does it exist? Have we ascended? And what's it like down there now that I'm so high up from you?
Hello.
There's a lot of judgment there, right? God. But first we're going to do our psychic surf report, buddy. I think the theme of this week, first of all, just lay down the scene for you. I don't know what you're picking up psychically. It's been 2 weeks now. Thank God. And Mars has gone retrograde. Mercury's gone retrograde.
Yeah.
So the ego and the mind are both drugged. That's what I've been saying.
Totally.
They've been drugged. They've been sort of with a little shot. And so our ego and our mind is not really full on. And we have the sun and Sag. We're ultimately deciding this week what we believe in and what we don't believe in. And this is usually very practical. Like, do I believe my boss can pull his head out of his ass? I don't think so. Like, it's everything in life. It's not just like, do I believe in Santa Claus? Do I believe in, this? It's usually much more subtle, right?
Sure.
But this year's do I believe in this shift is more profound than ever because it comes on the top of many cycles at once. Yeah. Pluto wrapping up Capricorn, Saturn wrapping up Pisces, Neptune wrapping up Pisces, Uranus will be wrapping up Taurus. So it's like these long cycles that we've been living are now coming full circle, which means we come to a big like, holy crap, I've had it wrong my whole life.
Right.
Which happens about 10 times in life, I think. Like we realize I have it completely wrong, but this time I got it. Right. So we're kind of in that space, laying down the pipe here. And then the moon in Gemini will go full status between Saturday and Sunday morning here in the United States. That full moon in Gemini is like, all right, I'm not going to be a plumber anymore. Like that full moon in Gemini is like, I'm not heading where I was going to head.
The ship sails.
X doesn't mark the spot anymore. Like I race. For some people it might be like, oh, well, now that Trump's in charge, I've got to do this. Some people might be like, I've got to flee the country, So people have different, for some people it's reactions to what's going on.
Sure.
But for most people, it's like, I'm so bored with my life. I need something new.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you pick up psychically? Because that's the astrology perspective in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I've been just even seeing, and also my own personal involvement, like a lot of people just even challenging their fundamental beliefs, right? I always think that's a good thing because, like you were saying before, it's kind of like a revamp of things. Like, I've been thinking this for so long because I was so comfortable and then uncomfortable. I'm starting to recognize, I'm not so comfortable as I thought it was. And so kind of challenging those outdated beliefs. And, and I think, the holiday times kind of, especially what I was saying repetitively about Sag season, about going back to the roots and of who we truly are. And I think holiday season is a good time to do so because a lot of what we find in deep rooted inside us is that kind of the childlike imagination. So I think I see a lot saw that being pulled out? And what were you ambitious about the first time in your life that you felt very, very of that sense of ambition, and pulling that out, and extracting that? Because I think a lot of times, even now, we're starting to recognize how much we've been repressing a lot of our, ambitious energy. And so I think moving into 2025, we'll start seeing that we're starting to kind of express it now. And like, almost like, what are those things with the can, the worms that pop out, that joke thing, whatever the gag, that gag.
Yeah, you just ruined my Christmas present for you. Now I got to get you something else.
That's right. Except yours aren't worms, they're snakes.
No, they're worms.
Okay, just double check.
I'm teasing with you. Well, I feel you're right. I mean, honestly, that magic you're talking about is Sag. I always tell people Christmas actually stole Sag. I think we were always probably like, hey, it's about to get winter and we're not going to see the sun for 3 months, but let's have a party. Like, I think there's this coming together in Sag energy. It's Jupiter. Yeah. You just want to get together. You want to find people who believe in what you believe in. You want to find people you can both make fun of together. Right. It's culture. You know, like Sag is our culture. It's our story. It's the hero. What is a hero these days? What is a hero not? Right. So I feel like, and I'm saying, every now and then we make a major shift, and you can see those major shifts. Like, I don't have the astrology dates, but 70s to the 80s, that's a Sag shift. Yeah. The culture shifts in Sag for it to go from, freaking like, joints to, curly perms. like we went like really like, whoa, what the? And then the 90s, it's like everything got kind of dumbed down. So you can see how like eras change. I think right now with Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde, what that basically is like the mind is like, I don't know what I want. And the ego's like, I don't know what's worth chasing after. Right. And so we're sort of scratching our head in our underwear, looking at the world going, I don't know what I want. Right. And that's going to last probably until late February, by the way, that whole like scratching your butt thing. However, what that does is the big picture of things is like when you neutralize the ego, which is the first thing that always fucks it up, or you neutralize the mind, which is definitely number one as far as fucking things up, they're both asleep. And God goes, well, what do you believe in? It's like this moment where it's like, oh, I think I might actually be able to choose the truth. Right. Because the parts of myself that deceived me have been intoxicated by a retrograde. Right.
Well, I mean, it also like creates that sense of objectivity, like kind of the being beside yourself and kind of looking at yourself. So I think that's to me, it's a wonderful, I would say, tip for Ascension. If you want to talk about Ascension, you'd be able to kind of,
that's our secret word of the day.
Bing, 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 bing. You get Ascension. You get Ascension. You all get Ascension. Right?
Ribbons, Adam.
I'm the Oprah of Ascensions here. Just hang it out. But no, I think that to me, like I feel good about this time of questioning. And even like I've noticed in my personal life, kind of just like being buttons a little pushed here. It's like, do I respond that way anymore? I used to respond that way. Do I need to respond that way now? So I find myself put in that position of being betwixt, the differences of how I used to be versus how I want to become and where I'm going. So I see a lot of that with my clients too, kind of being able to be that objective now. So, I think it's a wonderful time of understanding like what is going on here, but like that's exploration phase.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, we're literally deciding how we're going to write the story. We're literally saying, you know what, I don't want to be the one that was in a small town, blah, 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 swept up by love. Like, you're like, now I want to be this. It literally is our imagination in play. Yeah. And I believe what a belief is what your heart feels to be true. Your heart feels to be true because that character you want to play on stage. Right. And so that whole believe in like patriotic looking up at the stars kind of thing, like one day, that is a part of being human that's so exciting that we've actually, lost track of. I heard that like in New York, like a lot of the major stores are not like going all out for Christmas. I'm like, there you go. See, that's a corporate deliberate. They have the money. That is a deliberate, like, let's kill all magic. Like true. It feels like it. It feels like a lot of magic's being killed.
The depressed, let's make it more depressed. Let's just add more wood to that fire. It's like instead of like gathering up that kind of tradition and going back to what kind of brought us together. You know what I mean? Like the holidays, whether you believe it or not, like just the energy just kind of brought people together and even family together. But
totally. And you know what? I mean, here's a conspiracy, but true. Santa Claus was invented by Coca-Cola.
Was he? Well, yes. Santa Claus, not Saint Nick. Yes, Santa Claus was. That's right. Yes,
this image of Santa Claus and the whole reindeer, all that is a Coke ad executive. Yes. Probably on Coke, frankly. Right. We haven't had an ad campaign like that. Boy, it's been a long time since an ad campaign turned into a national holiday that turns into billions of dollars.
Right. Right. But Coca-Cola used to have Coke in it, though. They used to actually have Coke in Coca-Cola back in the day. But that's right. But that's a spinoff of Saint Nick, right? So Saint Nick wasn't really what Santa Claus
It's
is in a
it's
sense.
perfect advertising. You take like a
Right.
little myth. This is how they blew up Jesus. You take
Yeah.
like a little myth in a small town like Bethlehem,
Right.
and you grab it and you sensationalize it. And I actually believe in Christ and Yeshua, and I love you. But I saw what the church did after, and it was like these are interesting things you're bringing up because this is Sagittarius. Sagittarius can go wrong when you have a corporation decide, I'm just going to create this myth called Santa Claus.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, that's the way it is. And like parents are like lying to their children over it.
Right.
Like, look at how far we've gone for a Coke ad.
Right. It's like cereal companies invented breakfast. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
the Kellogg's did, from what I hear.
Kellogg's.
Yeah, the Kellogg's, the two Kellogg's brothers, from what I hear. Oh, I don't know if I can go down that path. I heard some gruesome stuff around that. Around really? Kellogg's. I got to be quiet. We'll talk about it maybe another time.
What is it?
They just had ulterior motives, those Kellogg boys. They literally thought that they had a belief that grain slowed down your libido. Like, so in humans, like this is what I heard, that grain slows down your libido. They're worried about boys being overactive.
Oh, interesting.
And they're worried about boys being overactive, like boys for whatever reason. That boy, masturbates.
Hey.
Oh my God, he's masturbating.
Look, I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to that. I believe they do different things for population control, and I just like Mountain Dew. I don't know if you ever heard Mountain Dew back in middle school. They're like, oh, Mountain Dew like kills sperm count, and so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I heard that too. I wonder if that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And so the boys are like, oh, I don't want to get pregnant.
Exactly.
So it worked. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, this is the week we are in. What we just described, that whole like crazy rabbit hole we just went down, that's consciousness in Sagittarius. Like it can go any way. What you believe about this, what you think about that. Hear this myth, hear that myth. Taylor Swift, a Grandmaster Sag. She's born at 21 degrees Sagittarius. She's a Grandmaster Sagittarius. Like that's how far you can go when you understand storytelling, narratives, characters, all these parts of like what we call life and what gives life context and meaning. Right. And so we're going to be blindfolded this week and looking for our context and meaning. And meaning is what I come up with. And I like what you said too about that innocence, Scott, because I feel like that's what it comes down to, that child in you that just wants to dream. Right. That's what's activating this week.
Sure.
Now, speaking of dreams,
it's time. But with that too, I know you're leading on, but I would say it's also you recreating that dream, right? Because like we were just talking about, like these traditions that kind of kept us, I would say, locked down from ascending. It's almost like recreating that dream from an innocent energy, because I think we want newer things now. We want more toys, right? In a sense. So I think that looking at the things that kind of we create tradition on, we're kind of elevating that now. So it's kind of redefining too from that.
I think you're right. Well, I think what happened was corporations use that leadership they had and led us right into dull, like dull, weird, like what? You want me to do what? You want me to wear what? Like you guys are, hello. And I think Hollywood dropped that ball too. Yeah. Right. So everyone was just like, yep, it's another Marvel movie in the multiverse, just like, oh, great. Like it hasn't pushed the envelope of our creativity. And now human beings are just like, fuck it, I'll create my own.
Right. Exactly.
You guys are boring now. So I think there's this other moment where corporate lost its appeal.
Oh, totally.
And I think it's because they were deliberately dumbing it down and making it less and less creative, honestly. And I think they backed themselves into a corner. Now they're screwed. We're all just like boring.
Well, they ran out of places to go. First, like it was like fat's a problem, not carbs a problem. Like they ran out of places to go. We're just like, okay, everything's bad now, so I can't just keep eating anything, or this tradition's bad, this culture's bad. So I think just ran out of places to go that people just actually are ascending. I think collective is ascending, no matter what level they're on. So we're all kind of waking up to that. I've been seeing a lot of that. So
it's a good way to talk about Ascension when we come back, because it's like, are we ascending, or has certain people just shit all over everything? There's nothing else but to go up. Like Jesus, this place is a pig pen. And we do have a proud sponsor today, I have to say. We're very grateful. Yeah. Our sponsor is Crystal by Crystal. Crystal by Crystal actually was a big part of Unite the Light, which was awesome. She gave these high-end candles to all of our VIP bags. Her job is to create transformative experiences through handcrafted candles. She does it with her hands. She uses Reiki energy to charge it, and she also has hidden crystals in the formula. So that kind of conscious awareness becomes a very strong intention product, Scott. In fact, looks like you intentioned all over it. Yours is gone?
Yes. It's good. And I kept it because like it still has a scent left over, so I keep it in a cabinet to keep the scent going. So you see this some like crystals and rocks down the bottom.
That's strong. That's cool.
One of the best scents I've actually smelled in a long time. So one of my faves.
Yeah, the scent is everything. And also, not feeling like you're slowly polluting yourself as you're burning the candle.
Right, with petroleum.
Yeah. Excuse me. Like, yes. I mean, Yeah, exactly. When I buy a candle in the store, that's the thing. It's like, yes, you can buy one of those candles, but like there's chemicals in it. It's now filled the
Right.
whole house. It's now on the
Right.
walls. It's now
Yes.
in the upholstery. It's like, like it's
It's in my
just like you're
life.
getting attacked. And that's the thing you get, with Crystal. She does everything by herself by hand. So it's come from a good place.
Yeah.
We also have a QR code on screen. It'll take you to her website. She offers all sorts of colors, vibrations of candles. Plus, you can go hire the creator herself, Crystal, for personal Reiki sessions and probably a good candle suggestion. I imagine she makes some good recommendations, like a wine person.
Right.
Like, you know what you need? It's peppermint with
Right.
a little dash of this. So let's roll her promo. She's got some nice promos too.
Yeah.
So this whole weekend of Uniting the Light would not have been possible without Crystals by Crystal. A lot of those VIP bags that are floating around are just stuffed with goodies. We appreciate your support of Uniting the Light. Thank you times a million.
I created Crystal by Crystal because I struggled to hear my inner guidance. Sitting still was never easy for me, but lighting a candle changed everything. Now I combine the energy of fire, crystals, and Reiki to create candles that are more than decor. They are sacred tools for self-care and empowerment. These candles have transformed both my life and my customers' lives, and to deepen your journey, I offer private Reiki sessions. Save with code JOY20 at crystalbycrystal.com. Your transfer
Starts here, I imagine. Starts here. We're still learning. This system we use for broadcast is meh. As far as its responsiveness, sometimes they're like, come on. Poor Adam, he's back there waving like crazy.
But the thing is, I love this bowl they put it in too. Like I would actually use it for something else too. It's like really kind of a snazzy little bowl here. So
does it have a hole in it? Can you plant something in there? That might be good.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure my dad can drill a hole in it.
Your dad could. I love that too.
Make a little plant.
Here's 20 more. Be like, David, and here's 20 more.
Right, exactly.
Well, y'all give it a try. We'll bring it up again at the end of the show. It's high quality stuff. The only last point I want to make was just that it's Christmas time. So if you want to send grandma a candle that will not kill her, if you really care,
may not be the one you want then.
But it's hard. It's hard to find the products that are good. You know what I mean? Like that aren't poison or whatever. And who knows? I mean, Crystal, do not take an offer from Bill Gates. Like, I don't care how much it is.
Right.
Stay pure, please. We need that stuff.
Yep.
All right, man. So now it's time to go on to our favorite topic, what I call the rainbow elephant in the room, which is Ascension.
Yes.
I'm just seeing if you fell for that bait.
Is that passing a ball here? Yeah, Ascension.
It's either rainbow. Am I calling him an elephant or rainbow? Both.
Both.
Ascension. Like, Ascension is the big topic. I mean, honestly, when I started astrology, I can't remember when I realized it, but I was like, oh, holy shift. This is all pointing towards Ascension.
Yeah.
Like I could see that. And it took me a long time because my mind was like, okay, am I interpreting the planets this way because I'm a positive guy? Or is it really all pointing towards Ascension? And my belief is it is, at least now, like with the combination of things like Saturn and Pisces and Neptune and Pisces, that is literally Ascension. Uranus and Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, that is literally Ascension. So the planets are saying literally we are ascending.
Yes.
But what the hell is that, man? So what is your definition of Ascension, first of all?
Well, I mean, Ascension to me is just a broadening of perspective of yourself, basically in your own evolution, and like knowing where you stand in that. And I always say the phrase like objective and unaffected. So I think that once you have that God perspective on things and you understand how everything is connected and why things are connecting the way they are, and without any type of judgment of that, to me is what true ascension is. You see why things are, connected and with the mechanics of everything, and you understand the purpose of that, either through karmic, past, our previous incarnations, others incarnations and past incarnations and so forth. So I think that realization is really what freedom really is, because as we're evolving, we have so many triggers, right, Christopher, spiritually, emotionally, that keep us stuck or disempower us, and we keep rising above those triggers. We're no longer affected and affected by that, but also we're empowered by it. That's ascension to me. So there's a process, right? So depending on where you're at in your evolution, some could be here, some could be here, but we're all evolving, we're all ascending to a certain degree. So just the question is, to what degree and to what level are you at in your ascension?
So you feel
Without,
that
without
ascension
judgment, by the
is,
way.
oh, of course you're not judging, Scott.
Never.
Like never happens. No, but you're saying ascension basically is personal awareness is becoming bigger.
Spiritual awareness.
Spiritual awareness. Well, that may
Because
be the part that
because
we were missing.
I
No.
mean, it's both, right? Because we're the personality is a manifestation of the spirit incarnation. So, but just
Yeah.
understand the path of that, right? But also individually and collectively, right?
Mhm.
And to me, is that we're always learning lessons here, so we know what we're learning based on what we're triggered by, right? And the things that we succumb to. And I would say when we ascend from that, we can look at it and say, okay, I've grown from that experience. I have more knowledge and wisdom and power from this. And the more you ascend this way, you become ejected and unaffected. You see everything for what it really is without judgment. And that's the God perspective, in my opinion.
The way it really is.
The
Yeah.
way it really is. Yeah.
Yeah, the essence of it. Well, I have a,
All is
coming
true.
as an astrologer, I have a lot more scientific look at ascension, which is, astrologers believe some, I mean, that the entire Milky Way, is really
Yeah.
our system, and
Hmm.
our solar system, which is just 10 little planets, we're little dinky, we're a cell
Right.
basically in the universe, but that we are sort of swinging back and forth in front of the galactic center, and the galactic center is the center of our galaxy, right? Big black hole in the center. Allegedly, that when we're in facing the the opening of the galactic center, and our solar system is in this opening part, there are alleged photons that allegedly expand our vibration to be much higher. It's almost like a microphone being able to now listen deeper into the woods. It's like we suddenly can just listen deeper into reality, and we all get sort of excited. And so, yes, it's an awakening of conscious, but to me, it's a reawakening of conscious because it's part of a pendulum. So we go through the dark ages, we come back into the light. I feel like it's also an awareness. Like I know for a fact, since Pluto went into Aquarius, like I can see Atlantis now. I could not see it that past life prior. Now I can see it in my third eye. It's just appearing. To me, I wonder if the dark ages is when the conscious got so dense, like a candy bar, you couldn't even tell what ingredients were in it. And now I feel like reality is opening up. So you can refuse to open up to the ceiling, but you're going to see the ceiling just keeps going higher and higher.
Sure.
If you refuse to grow. So to me, there's an environmental part of ascension that goes along with personal.
Well, of course. I mean, that's me, individual and collective. But the more you ascend, the more you can view your previous incarnations and the purposes of that, right? I think being psychic, for one, is a huge. Like when I started recognizing my psychic and mediumship abilities, I didn't say, "Oh, it's all about reading people." I use that energy to tap into my previous incarnations and expanding more my awareness of existence, evolution, all of that. So I would say even psychic ability, psychic awareness, studying astrology are great tools that we can use to broaden perspective on our evolution collectively, individually. And so I think that the more we become in tune to that, of course, all your past incarnations start illuminating in your DNA. It's like, I was this, I was that. This is why I was this is why I'm this in this incarnation. All those puzzle pieces fit together. And I think personally, when we get to the level where it all makes sense and where we don't get triggered on the negatives of negative in a sense, I think that's when we move on to a different dimensionality, a different planet, or a different realm. You know what I'm saying? That we've kind of graduated from planet Earth. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, well, I think it's like remembering a dream. That's the best way I'll put it. It's just like, I had this dream that I was a Syrian alien. Wait a second, is that a dream? It's like it's still pinched down. You're like, oh, that's not a dream. That's access to a deep memory across the galaxy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's how it seems like. It starts like a dream, but then like you just know the dream so well, and now you remember that. There's the same guy I saw, and then you do start putting together like lifetimes. And so I think by as you and I retire, I think we'll be very aware of all of our lifetimes, how they came together, why they were all chosen. I think we'll have that decoded in human form from just knowing inside of us what's right and what's not right.
Right.
Now, Ascension itself, I know Ascension to be another thing too. Studying the Ascended Masters speak to that humans are caught in this duality matrix where we just keep reincarnating until we have the ability to realize ourselves as greater than Earth. Like, so you realize I'm part of something greater. There's something bigger that I'm greater of. And when and in that moment, when your conscious realizes like, oh, I'm above Earth. I can rise above Earth. I can rise above all that stuff.
Graduation.
Right. That is ascension. And so the question is like, well, did Jesus ascend? Is that what happened when he left and came back? came back as an astral plane guy. Like, but like, did he? Because there's the whole shroud and his image burning. I kind of believe
Right.
that. It feels correct. But the point is, like, he turned into a ball of light and took off. Created an image of himself on a shroud. But like, is that it? I personally believe that Ascension's been built to the Matrix from the beginning. It's just
Right.
if the solar system is in front of that black hole, I think we're just a little bit more high and we see stuff like, whoa, cool.
Yeah.
But I think in the ancient times, like Jesus, you work real hard, you could still bring your vibration to this higher level above
Right.
Earth. You
Right.
just didn't have Earth working with you. You're a real pioneer.
Sure. I mean, it's like playing chess. I mean, we can make any move we want to, but there's still parameters of the game, and we have a specific board we have to play in, right? And so, I think that once we master the game board here, and we master whatever moves we can do to conquer, our journey or the game per se, then yeah, we elevate out of that. And so, I think there's many other ascended masters that have done so, and that's kind of just confirming what I was saying before about graduation. Because Jesus kind of, Yeshua. I say every time I say Jesus, I try to make it so people understand. But Yeshua's, I prefer that name to address him by. He hung out with everybody. He hung out with the prostitutes, and it didn't affect him to be around the diversity of people. And his message was always the same. He wasn't affected. He wasn't triggered. Didn't mean he didn't stand up for what was true, but the ascension with him was like he understood why things were the way they were. He understood why people were the way that where they're at in their journeys, and he let people to understand it's okay, keep going. The power is within, and that's for people to understand that message, really know that is what true ascension is. Many people have to hear that over and over again, or it's too simplistic for people to like digest that message. But when you really understand what it means, where it's all within, and love is the power, and when you understand what that truly means, that's what ascension is. We can hear it all the time, but it doesn't resonate to a lot of people. And that's where a lot of other things spawn from that intellect is toxic positivity, judgmental energies spawn from the I would say the lack of understanding of what that truly means about the power within and love in a sense.
Well, yeah, I agree. I feel like organized religions were designed to keep people from figuring that out. I think that a lot of them were pointing towards away from what the ancient sciences were saying and the mystery schools. I think we buried all that shit and we didn't let anyone know it. And there's been I do believe in a dark conspiracy to keep the public spiritually dumb.
Well, it's order.
I mean,
I think it's
Yeah.
I think I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's man's way of creating order. So I was thinking about that about a couple of days ago. I'm like, yeah, this whole religion thing. I'm like, but there's a lot of people who are not far in their ascension process, are very carnal in their behavior, that there needs to be some sort of like program in this matrix that keeps people in order, right? To develop some sort of morality, or that there's a consciousness watching them so they feel accountable for their actions. So I feel like initially that was religion was really designed for. Because we can talk about all this
for control. Like Constantine, he wrote about it. Like it was a deliberate. Basically, Rome was falling apart. They needed a new ad campaign,
right? For order.
And so they re-legioned Rome through a religion, and they left out Mary and all sorts of gospels and chose the ones they wanted, and squatted on every pagan holiday there was. Like it was a designed.
Yes.
Basically, it was Coca-Cola writing Santa Claus.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
It was. But
that's my point.
Now
but
Jesus was amazing. Yeshua was amazing, and people were stealing his shit the moment he died. You know what I mean? Like, so because that good shit, you lay that out there, like every, back then, if you had to walk to their town, it's like, might as well be who said it. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of direction there, but
who are they to dictate what type of order that humanity needs? And that's kind of the point, right?
Who is Coke? Who is Coke?
Right.
Who is Coke to tell me what Santa Claus is?
Exactly.
You really, honestly, and I was always, and you know why? Here's the thing too, because Coke sales go down in the winter.
Yeah.
So they needed like a big winter thing to promote Coke,
because everyone drink
Coke in the summer
drinks as much, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so now Ascension. Let's talk Ascension more. We're getting off topic here.
Kind of.
We're going off a little bit in direction, but to me, it is a process that the Ascended Masters have really mastered. Obviously, it seems few far in between. I don't know if the story is if you ascend Earth, if you have to turn around and teach, or just these few masters were like kind enough to do that. But like you definitely have access between worlds, from what I understand, once you have ascended. From what I understand, you are somewhat ghost-like because you're more of your light body than you are your current physical 3D body. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, part of the process of ascension is literally raising your body's frequency to the next level to become a light body. Like that's part of the trick. Apparently, because we
Realization.
live in low frequency, we live in chemicals, we live in all these, our body's addicted to things. So
Right.
there's a
Yes.
whole physical process that's involved too, which I think, why you see in the ancient times, even like fasting and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
preparing the body for ascension. Not that it happens. What I personally believe, and here's what I want to ask you, it's like, can people ascend this life? I personally feel like for the first time in centuries, you're going to have a whole bunch of ascensions at the end of this life.
Mm-hmm.
And when they ascend, usually they're not that popular. Yogananda, they say, ascended. Okay,
Right.
they say that was his last life. He brings yoga to America.
Right.
That's one thing about ascension too. Like the masters, like usually pull off some like some like miracle just to
Right.
show off right before they ascend. It's like part of your. I don't think it's a show off. I
Dropping
think
a
it's
nugget.
your thesis. You're like, this is why I can ascend because I can do this, and they're like,
Right.
oh yeah, you
Sure.
got this.
Yeah.
Like you can master the consciousness to a cool outcome. I think yoga was that for Yogananda. He ascended, but
True.
he's not that popular now. Like it'll be probably like 200 years where like Master Yogananda, one of our ascended masters. In our lifetime, he's like, hey, this cool guy from India that brought us yoga.
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
my point is like when you're an ascended master, you are a great person, usually male or female. There's both, and you do something phenomenal. But it may take 30 years before the world really benefits from what you did. It's so far thinking in the future. But to me, that's part of ascension too. If you're going to ascend off the planet and not have to come back, you're going to pull off a little miracle before you go.
Yeah, I think to me that's just a result of ascending, right? It's like when you've broadened your own awareness to that degree, you're going to channel this inspiration. It's kind of just like you can't help to plop it out, in a sense, or at least some sort of a dent, right? And leading over what your spirit has experienced in the life. But I think that people should see ascension as no matter where they're at, they're ascending. I think too many people think ascension means that they've reached a peak and that's ascension. And when you reach that peak, then ascension is a whole process. And so I always say that, when people start becoming more intuitive, that's another indication of their ascension process. When they're starting to become more psychically aware and they start seeing spirit and imprints in this reality, they're ascending because their sensory is becoming expanded. And the more you become in tune to that sixth sense per se, and I see a lot of people who think they're not ascending or ascending because I'm like, your abilities are heightening right now. You're extra sensitive to other people's energy and emotions when you weren't before. I said, you're ascending. And because they haven't made sense of it, they think they're not. And I'm saying we all are. And so when we understand the process of, even if you're at level 1 or 2, 3, if you want to put it in levels, you're still going level to level no matter what. And so I want everybody to understand we are all ascending. And the question really is in which format, individually and collectively. Then you can be more keen on which skill sets and gifts that you have and how to express it,
Got you.
So many people, I'm sure you've seen with clients too, Chris, for a lot of people's, intuition, their own gifts are starting to kind of like ignite now.
Oh, yeah.
They don't know how to make sense of it, but it's like, to me, it's also confirmation that we are collectively ascending and evolving in a sense, so.
Well, we are. I think the bottom is being taken out. So and that's Pluto. So I think the way ascension works is you will be squeezed like a ketchup bottle and forced to do it or die. Like you have no choice. If you're riding this ride, every year the bottom gets sort of cut off. That's what Pluto does. Like, okay, you can no longer be manic depressive alone in your house forever blaming the government. And it's like, what? You can't be that anymore? Nope, we're not going to allow it to happen. And what happens is like you suddenly like no one gives a shit. Behavior you took that you indulged in at like this low level that kept you low. Like the world is not supporting it anymore. That's what happens. Like, nope, sorry, they're not going to give away free hypodermics anymore in the parks. Like, they stopped that. Like, what? You mean I got to find my hypodermic needles if I'm going to be yep, you got to find your own. And so it's like Pluto there just starts to snub out like the lowest frequency. And so, if you refuse to grow, you just get squeezed towards a ceiling, like as in the next, 10 years or so. However, I also feel like people actively are opening up to this for the first time. Like I think we're talking about like you talk about ancient, Israel or ancient Egypt or whatever. The masses may have believed in these things or not believed in these things, or they were under the control of the Egyptian church. They weren't thinking. This is the first lifetime where everyone can just believe what they want.
Right.
It's never been that way before.
Right.
So it's like, this is your first time believing what you want. So some people are going to go down like weird paths of like occultism or things that you and I did in the 1700s, or you know what I mean, or another soul did another time.
Right.
So the point is, it's like it's kind of relative to where you are as a spirit.
Exactly.
But I do think, I think what's going to happen is the capability for ascension is active by the end of our life. Like it's fully capable. I think many are going to hop off. I mean, I can't tell you people like, this is my last life. I'm like, we'll see. What are you going to do? What miracle? To bring yoga to America? You know,
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure you've seen a lot of people think this is their last life, and I'm like, honey, it's not. It's not your last life, because we're going to leave this incarnation saying like, I did what I needed to do. You're not gonna be like, I'm sick of this place, because you're not. You might be close to leaving, but I say when we ascend and decide to ascend out of planet Earth, we're at peace with it. We understand it. There's no reservation about it. And so
you're not even asking.
yeah.
I don't think if you're asking, if you say to yourself, I'm going to send this life, you probably won't. So it's like, because the process, and let's talk about that, the process to ascend. Like, I think the process of ascension comes down to what you pay attention to. So you might agree with me that whatever you pay attention to or give attention to is where your energy flows to, right? So your soul's energy will flow to, the injury in your body if you place a lot of attention on your body and that injury. So I think ascension comes down to recognizing and deliberately paying attention to other parts of us that we have in the past. Right. That's the biggest thing. It's just changing our own paying of attention. And that paying of attention goes to the heart, which is what the heart wants, creativity, inner child. So moving attention away from the mind, moving attention away from ego and performance and showing off, moving attention away from the body where I'm, doing drugs and staying, intoxicated with stuff. Like, we've been paying attention to all those things, bring it to the heart. And for me, the level of love in the heart has some sort of connection to how high your vibration goes. So to me, and what Serious Joy is, just like, we're just always like, okay, here's how you get to your heart. Here's how you give it more energy.
Well, yeah, but we have to also understand Ascension. And the problem I have with a lot of communities is that they don't know what love really means, right? They just think like love is just being like fairy-dairy, I'm saying, just don't be negative. And what I tend to call toxic positivity. Love is actually, when we talk about self-love, and that's kind of lost its emphasis and power. I have to remind people, it's what are you putting love into? Are you putting love into yourself? Then people start thinking different. It's like, what am I doing that's putting love into my own growth and evolution, right? And so I think it's important for us to understand that what we're challenged with in this lifetime, that we're not supposed to run away from that. It's these challenges and these deprivations that we're experiencing are catalysts to push us into ascension. And I see a lot of people judging themselves because, this is where, again, when we ascend out of planet Earth, we no longer judge. But I see a lot of people judging themselves because they can't get it right, or they're still stuck in a karmic pattern. And we're saying it's that karmic pattern that's pushing you into ascension. If you embrace that and stop turning a blind eye to it because you need to be positive, then you allow yourself to evolve and understand its purpose and meaning in your life, what the message is. You can extract the key that opens up the door to ascension, in a sense, right? So I think a lot of people are getting tripped up because they're feeling these emotions of deprivation or these emotions of need because it's not positive for them. They have to try to fight against it, and that to me is what negates, the ascension process. Someone mentioned in the comments before about, there's people trying to hijack our ascension process. And I said, yeah, a lot of that hijacking is some of these new age communities, about the toxic positivity or the manifestation, only focus on what you want and kind of diluting what manifestation really is, right? And so when we do ascend from our karmic patterns, we manifest like a powerhouse, right? So a lot of these ideologies are becoming in between. And I see it with a lot of my clients for the past 12 years where they're beside themselves and feeling stuck because they're not doing it right. And that to me is where, a lot of these ideologies has hijacked the ascension process, because then we start trying to push away the messenger, our karma is saying, here's your tool to ascension, right? You know what I mean?
Well, okay, let's go back to Santa Claus. It doesn't matter what religion you invent. Some faction of the population is going to take it to its most shallow end,
Totally.
So even Christmas is just like, oh, you're just buying so that everyone can see what you spent. And you don't believe in a spirit of Christmas. You've gone down the materialism path, and that's what you're basically saying with spirituality manifestation. You're like, people, you're going down. It's not why manifestation exists. It's for the Porsche you have in your driveway. Right. Well, that's true. But I also look at this as a phase. I mean, when I started on this, honestly, at age 19, I went into this Buddhism sect in Chicago. A friend of mine took me there, and they were very simple. They're like, hey, chant this saying, and you'll get whatever you want in life. And I was like, what? You know, I was like, what? How's that possible? And of course, you start chanting and you start getting shit. I got the computer, I got the girlfriend, I got like all these different things I was chanting for. And I was like, huh, Jesus Christ, is it that easy? Right. And then over time and pretty quickly, it's just like, oh, maybe I should ask for deeper things. Like you just automatically go, okay, I'm burned out on the cars and the, you know, all the shallow shit. And my Buddhist sensei at that time was like, I asked him like, why do we have them aim for like money and shallow stuff? And he's like, they will only stay there for some time, you know, like, and he was right. It's like, so my point is like, yes, I agree. People get shallow with Ascension. They join cults and they all go topless and have orgies and all the craziness that has happened through these times. But that's every time. That was around Christ. That was around Halloween. Like humans
100%.
just do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's my point, is that we need to be aware of that, because, you know, now the pseudo spirituality is becoming like focusing on getting what you want instead of becoming who you want to become or who you need to become, right? So it's been a lot of that infiltration that I think has been, you know, inhibiting a lot of people's ascension process, right? And so it's important to discuss it. Yes, we do that with everything as in human nature, but we still have to kind of, you know, call it out in our spiritual communities too, you know.
We do. Well, if aliens landed tomorrow and we're like, hi, we're here to help you. We've been trying to help you the whole time. Your fucking idiot leaders wouldn't let us. And we're like, what? Oh my God. But then like you go out down to New York on the pier or something, and there's like a little alien doll. Some immigrants like, see, by aliens, just like they landed. Like everyone's going to experience it at the level that they're at. You know what I mean? Like you're not getting out of it. And so there was a lifetime when I turned it into trinket business on the sea. I'm sure. Sure. There was a lifetime when I was just like, I just want the money. I don't want like the prettiest wives, and that's all I want. I'm sure I had those lives. I don't think you can get to where you appreciate the deeper until you burn through the shallows. What I'm getting at.
Sure, 100%, and I 100% agree with that. But I think with our spiritual community now, we're collectively evolving. Right. So that's why I wasn't so vocal about it. Now I'm more vocal about it. So I'm like, now, okay, now our spiritual communities are ascending to now we don't need that any longer. It's time to purge that and intellectualize, you know, what manifestation really is. Right. I think we're ready. You know, because I think, you know, as you and I both know, Christopher, like spirituality is becoming kind of the more mainstream, right? The new Hollywood in a sense. And the more in the next 5 years, it is going to become more where the spiritual communities are more revered than celebrities once were in a sense. So I do feel like a table tipping in that in the next 5 years, right? It's at least until 2030, up into that, the bracket that we're in. So we do have to evolve and ascend as a community. Right. And so that's why I feel like I've been called to make sure I'm kind of being a voice for those things, because, you know, there's a lot of new light workers that are coming on board. There's a lot of people discovering their talents. As you know, they're ascending into understanding what their mystical powers are, you know, with astrology, with Reiki, with healing, with psychic mediumship, channeling. So a lot of people are like starting to rise up with their own abilities. So we got to make sure we're consistent as a whole, I believe, you know. And what a perfect time to do it when Pluto's in Aquarius, right?
I think that's our time, though. I mean, I think that's what Sirius Joy is here for. I think we're here to be forefathers and mothers of the new era. We have to craft it out. You know, the last time on a Pluto level, this was the American democracy, and the American Revolution was when Pluto went to Aquarius last time, and you know, then the French followed and so forth. Like so, this idea that like, wait, why don't we let the people run the show? That's an idea. Like, just sometimes one idea like that is just like 250, 300 years of human progress. The idea that we're not alone, the idea that we are multidimensional, the idea that we do not die, we just reformat, called a reincarnation.
Right.
Once these ideas just sip into humankind, like culture just starts to change all on its own.
Yes.
Because, you know, one of the things I think about the whole death sequence is like, it makes you appreciate this life. It makes you cherish this life. That's why I think we have health issues and we die. And putting an end on it makes you value it more. That's part of the economy of life. You know, only have so much gold, it's worth more. Like only have so much life, it's worth more. But now we're really starting to wake up to like, oh, you know what? This is my third time of doing this. You know,
well, you know,
and you have memory of it. First of all, it makes me less afraid of dying. I'm just like, well, we'll do our best. You know, like
But you know, it's funny because more and more people are making this, like talking about this more mainstream, like astrology, you know, past life incarnations. I think like we're starting to notice like people who are like more into like diffusing spirituality. Now it's more people seem to be more spiritually inclined and more kind of questioning whether or not what we do is evil or not, or coming from bad energy. So instead of being like debunked of it being real, I just get people more challenging the fact that is it dark energy or negative energy. So I have noticed a huge, you know, ascension with the collective of being more knowing there's something more spiritually. You know,
people do.
People dismissing it, you know?
Yeah, and I've been witness to it too, where I've had people are just like, I can't even tell this guy what I do. So like now I talk to the guy and he's just like, so what's your sign? I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like I was afraid to even bring this up with you 5 years ago. I can see how people suddenly were like, huh, what is it? Whereas before they're like, but I also think a big part that we're undergoing with Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces is that we are subconsciously still trying to be good for the church, still feel like it's a sin if we go down there. We're still, basically feeling the judgment of those lifetimes where we were caught up in the religion and we believed all of it, hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
And so a lot of times people are afraid to express themselves because they're still giving their power to the church. Right. They're still like, I just don't want to create any trouble. And they don't even realize that's actually your wound. So a big part of Ascension is, this is something I'm teaching and practicing and seeing for myself, is like, you face the traumas that have traumatized you. Heal the fear, heal all the hard, painful shit, because that is what is the low vibration. That's actually, to me, in this first stage of Ascension, I'd say as a leader, it's actually about dumping over the heavy shit over the boat. Like, you don't even have to try to fly higher. You just get rid of that poor me bullshit of the victim thing, or just, forgive your parents and move on. Like, if you just let that lower stuff go, the boat will just start rising right away. So is it that we are ascending or no longer holding ourselves back?
Well, true, but also it's no fear of being human, because, we get sick, we get issues that we have to face as humans. So embracing that part of our ascension is very important too, because a lot of people think I can't give to my human desires. I'm like, you got to eat. That's a human desire. You got to bathe. That's a human necessity. So it's okay to embrace being human too. That was a huge part of my ascension when I was like trying not to be human and trying to like rise up. Like, no, we're human for a reason. Let's embrace the humanity of what we are. And also, stop judging and stop fearing being judged. That's a huge freedom. When you stop judging and you don't be feared of people judging you and don't give essence to that, that's another huge important of Ascension, because then you're not allowing anybody to dictate your happiness or dictate your stance on things in life either. So, it's okay. We're human. We need to start embracing that a little bit more. Some people are trying to run away from that too much.
Let me tell you, man, organized religion's mindfuck was so deep.
Trust me, I had the RTS.
Oh my God, it's the best brainwash on the planet, and I believe in Yeshua, and I pray. I know him. I know, like, these are real souls that busted ass to help the earth better, and then asshole kings decided they were going to rewrite it, or the Pope decided he was going to squat on it, and it's just like, there was no copyright back then. There was no trademark. People just stole the ideas and changed it for what they wanted to be, and it was total control. Of course,
100%.
Watch television.
Yes.
Like, that's the modern religion. Science to some degree is it's like, no, ain't no science, ain't no proof, that ain't gonna happen. It's like, no, that's not how the
universe. Who paid for that study? And that study seems to be kind of more like biased in a sense. You can't. That's the thing about Ascension too. You have the discernment to know like what's bullshit or not, whether it's called science or not. You understand that's not. There's no truth in this. We have that better discerning perspective in Ascension. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, you have other voices that you're listening to, and those voices can't be proven. They're inside yourself. But, those voices, those feelings could save your life, and you're lost in the woods. Like, it's the part of us that knows.
Well, many people, Chris, have questions about like they're ascending, right? But their partners or the lovers are not ascending and so forth. So, what's your viewpoint on whether or not people should be around those who are not ascending? And so what's your take on that? Because I have a big take on that, but I want to hear yours first.
I think you should have a secret love affair with others who are ascending. You should cheat on the partner that doesn't want to ascend.
It's like a Mormon ideology there.
Well, I honestly feel like it's going to take care of us. I think this is a one lifetime problem. You know what I mean? Where I think a lot of people would never ascend at all if they'd not watched their wife or husband do it.
Right.
They would never ascend. They would just like, well, she was right. She was right. Like the man's just like, I didn't believe it, but Daisy was right. Like, poof, he's dead. Like, all right. That was, to me, you have to be handcuffed. I think though, for those who are like, I'm alone in this relationship, they don't see me or whatever, you have to look at yourself differently than that. You have to look at yourself not as that you're alone and strapped to someone who can't see, but that you are a pioneer, that you're ahead of your time, that no one saw what you saw, that you're one of the few that saw what you saw. Right. And so, of course your husband doesn't. Of course you're the only in your family that sees. There's not that many really experienced reincarnating souls that have the history and the knowledge, maybe from another past life, another planet system. They don't have the knowledge of how this all works. And so there's a real handful of light workers who really are paying attention and who are lighting the way and saying this is normal. Believe it or
Right.
not, I know it looks crazy. I know they wouldn't tell us this. And I think most of the ascension process is that wheel hub method where it's like there's one light worker who gets it and their fingers go out to all these different spokes and all these people around them pretty much benefit from like, Witeki wasn't crazy. Like, and I think that's a role, but I think in 2 lifetimes that doesn't even exist. Like, cause everyone's there.
Yeah. I mean, as far as relationships, I've seen different dynamics where I was actually had one client where she was ascending, but she actually knew part of her ascension was to be of aid to her partner who wasn't ascending. And so that was almost like her karmic fulfillment too, is to do so. And so in that case, it was like part of her ascension to be with the partner that was not ascending. But there's other situations, and I think this is what I said before, important, that understanding where you're at in your own ascension will help you to understand like this person is affecting my ascension. I'm not either equipped enough to deal with this dichotomy in my life. I need to seek more loving people in my environment. So of course it's different, right, per each situation. But I think no matter what relationship that you guys are in, ask yourself, is it in alignment to your own ascension? Is this person that you're with, if they're not religiously inclined, or spiritually inclined, is that part of your evolution to understand how to be around people of that nature? Or is it your evolution and your mission to ascend to set boundaries in your life? And so, because a lot of people ask me this question about, should they leave a person that's not spiritually inclined or someone who is not ascending? I say, well, we got to look at your karma. And so, and I see many relationships where it's a karma to help a person to put love into a relationship where a person is struggling, right? Instead of abandoning them.
It's a whole bunch of things. It depends on the story, like of that couple. Like, honestly, she could have been the man in the last life trying to convince the woman to be more liberal and take on freedom. And, it's like, and in the last life, it was reverse gender and reverse,
Right.
And so that time he wouldn't fucking let, and she knew, or like it was reverse. Like, so it doesn't really matter on that front. I feel like, I feel ultimately though, a lot of times you want someone safe to show you how to do it. That's humankind, period. And so for most people, you're going to learn by watching someone else. You may be stubborn your whole life, but when you see that person change in front of your own eyes, it'll be undeniable. You know them, you're close to them. And I think that close connection is usually what pulls most of the population in to a transition. It's that you want to be like your friends and your family, and you even know why you're walking down this rainbow tunnel, but they are, so I'm doing it too. And holy shit, wow, they were right. Like until when they get there, they're like, wow. Yeah. I think it was like in the 1920s where like some women were flapper girls. They go out dancing and drinking. And it's just like, what kind of woman would do that? Oh my God. Right. Ascension's kind of the same way. It's like, okay, I know it's possible. I'm going to go ahead and take these conscious rights and liberties and experience this. And yeah, a lot of people think it's crazy.
It's true. And it's not one size fits all, right? Spirituality is a very broader perspective on things. And, I've had people in my life that were like, instead of telling them to get out of a relationship, I tell them we got to work through this and understand why it's here in your life. And they did. They met the love of their life after that because they completed the karma instead of repeating the pattern. And so that's kind of when people ask about toxic positivity, we miss out on those lessons when we're just trying to be positive. And so we have to really kind of be in tune to where we're at in our ascension phase to understand what we're supposed to be, what we've agreed to, but what we're supposed to be engaging with and not engaging with, and not being so judgmental about it.
Yeah, toxic positivity is a phase. It's a phase. Like they're just like, just say an affirmation that overpower your sadness, and you're like, I'm happy. Like you can't even really say it with meaning. Like I'm happy. I'm not happy, man. I'm a wealthy man. And you realize in like 20 minutes, you're like, oh, I get it. Like the affirmation reveals how much of you is like,
Right.
And so it really turns into a deeper thing real quickly. You can't just spray positive over what's not, which smells like shit.
And it also doesn't negate the effectiveness of affirmations, because affirmations are great in different circumstances. Like we have to understand it's all useful tools, right? Just like psychedelics could be, used for ascension too, in a certain degree, right?
They were. I mean, we didn't even get to that, but I think Moses was on acid and mushrooms. Yeah, I agree. I think affirmation is very important.
I've been affirming grow hair
right now. I'll have it like right now. It's like, do I think that's going to cause a problem or not? It's not going to cause a problem. Like, so I'll affirm like, this is my choice. It's not, to me, that's an affirm, because I know if I sway and I start fumbling the ball over here, I can make it all turn to a problem. I can make it all turn to an opportunity. A lot of the way you respond to the energy is what it will become. So to me, affirmation is not like putting lipstick on a pig. It's actually, let's go ahead and make sure this is a pretty pig. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like it's an intention, but I think it's all levels. And we have to talk about us, buddy. Talk about Ascension. Everyone who was chatting was wishing we could ascend out of this conversation. No, I'm kidding. we have a lot more to talk about this. But first of all, I want to say to our sponsors, right now, Sirius Joy, which is one of the major sponsors of the show, is doing a White Light Friday sale. We've already launched this sale. It goes until December 20th. You can sign up for Sirius Joy for just $3.99 a month, and you'll get that for 2 solid months. So that's 60 days of trying out Sirius Joy. Now, I know what you may think about apps and things, because honestly, no astrology app ever helped me change my life. But that's what's different about Sirius Joy. We know who you are. We coach you. And if you don't agree, then go ahead and leave. After 60 days, you only pay $7. So that is available right now at SiriusJoy.com. And the promo code, I believe, is Sirius Joy sale, right? Or Sirius Joy Friday. White Light Friday? I don't even know. It's not Sirius Joy. Sorry. I'm screwing that up completely. I cannot remember what the code was, but we will put it on there. That's because I've been off the air, buddy. I've been off the air with amnesia and all sorts of things. Now, this one I'll get down to. We also want to say and thank our sponsor today, Crystal, and her candle store. She honestly has, you tell us. You talk about the candle quality, buddy.
Well, it's again, I'm very much into like clean scents, but I also like kind of musty smell or musty. Jesus, my terms today. Like kind of a smoky scent. So it's kind of got the mixture of both, and they burn. Certain candles they burn. You have to be in the room to smell. It kind of illuminates it. The aroma infiltrates like a big radius of your home. So I like that. I just wish they were a little bigger because I want more, but that means I have to buy more. But yeah, the quality is great. The scent is fantastic. It doesn't feel. It smells like as if you're getting something pure, not synthetic. You know what I mean? So
that's huge. I mean, sometimes I think I'm getting a headache from the synthetic.
Right. So
I have a problem seeing, and my vision is blurred. But keep that Yankee candle burning.
Right. That candle. Oh gosh, those Yankee candles. But another thing is too, like I did feel a calming effect to the aroma too. And I didn't think that when I lit the candle, like I didn't know anything about it. Just like, hey, a candle, let's light it. And so when I found out what it was, like, that's interesting because I would light that in my room and I'd feel this kind of like very peaceful, calm, soothing current with it. So there's something to what she's saying, Again, she didn't pay me. I just got a free candle, so. No,
that is paying you. That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Karma points.
But you did turn over your shoulder and you found Eric asleep. So like you did have
I was talking for an hour. I didn't realize it,
Was it the candle? Was it Scott? It was both, folks.
I don't know. I say it's a candle. It's effective.
Non-toxic candles are hard to find, and that's the whole point. And that's what we want to start doing in Sirius Joy is bringing you products and services that are clean. And you have to worry about it, and it's like win-win because you're getting healthy, and we know we're leading you in the right direction. Yeah, we feel good about that. So check out her QR code. Check out her stuff. It's a great Christmas gift for Grandma who you want to be able to keep breathing. Right. All right. Awesome, man. Well, it's been a perfect show. It's 11 o'clock on the head. That means you and I are about to ascend. Everyone, take a last look. We are going to ascend. That's how we're doing this show. We're going to ascend right in front of you. We're going to turn into a ball of light and fly away.
And this was our 33rd episode and on 12/12. So
wow,
pretty good with the numerology.
That's going to be in the whole and the Ascended Master Christopher on 12/12.
Right, and 33 is a number of ascension. So I mean, did we plan that?
I don't know. Yeshua, age 33, us episode 33.
That's right.
That's right. All right. Well, everyone, we're grateful for. Yeah, we're going to try to ascend now. We'll see. We'll roll us in the credits. We are grateful for you watching. We'll be back next week, folks. Remember, don't put up with a shift show. Lead out loud. We'll see you next week. Love ya.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so I think you have to, first of all, have nothing in your bowels. I'm talking about
that's ass end, right? That's the ass end.
Oh, shit.
The ass end.
That's what happened to Deepak. No, I'm kidding.
Right. So, that's what I call my Scotty bidets, Beat me up, Scotty.
You need to be clean, okay. Now, I've eaten some meat. Will that keep me from ascending?
It depends. I mean, meat is dense, but, I think it also can weigh you down physically so you can evolve spiritually. So have a nice dichotomy. So have some steak,
fried
please.
pork loins. I think I'm dead.